Hi, I'm Colin from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and today I'll be doing the handover on the Swift Sundance 600X. So on the wing of your passenger side, if you push in, this is your filler point, which then will open with the main ignition key to get the cover off, and then you can fill with diesel. And here you have your seat adjustment, so you've got your front, and then you've got one at the back, which you can pull, and that'll do the back of the seat as well. And then you lower it down to get your lumbar support and your back support there. Coming further along, your boiler is directly behind here. So this is the cover that you must take off if you're heating your water on gas. If you're heating it on electric, it can stay on, but if you're heating it on gas, the cover must come off. And to do that, you just pinch, to get this cover off, if you just pinch, put a bit of pressure here with your thumb, and use your fingers to pull this back off, and this must come off when heating the water on gas. Moving further down the van, you've got your main hookup point here, so you've got your 25-metre hookup lead. This is your hookup point. Lift the collar, slide on, and then you unhook. There's a small blue lever which is push down and pull the hookup lead off. Always hook the vehicle up first, as we wouldn't want you walking around with live leads should you be hooking up in the rain. Below, this is one of your drain down points, so this is your waste water. So this is any water that has went down a plug hole, goes into a holding tank, and simply when you've finished your holiday on a site, you drive over the grid, which is called the motorhome service bay, and open the tap, and then this will drain all your waste water off, which will be your soapy water. In the winter, you want no water to be left in the van, so you want your fresh, your waste and your boiler to be completely open and leave the van free of any water. In here is your gas locker, LPG, liquid petroleum gas, and this is a 6 kilogram propane gas bottle. To hook the pigtail onto the bottle, it's a left hand thread and hand tighten, and then turn on at the top of the bottle. Always make sure that they are strapped in when you are travelling, and it is turned off when you're on the road, so if you're in a collision, the gas is securely isolated. In here you do have your storage. You've got your toolkit there, so that's got a jack and a brace, a tone eye in there. You've got your baskets to put your various items in, and this is a wet locker, so if you were to have any wet items in here, you can just wash it out, and there's a plug hole in there for it to drain out. You've got your ladder, so to get onto your ladder, just loosen the strap off here, slide it down, and then you can walk up and get onto the roof for cleaning or to check on the roof should you need to. And then always put the strap back on, keep the ladder securely. Got your brake light, your bike rack, so if you just loosen these two off, and lift this up and then tighten, and then pull this down, and you put your bikes on the rails, straps through the spokes, the arms link onto the crossbar of the bike. So this is the second bike and this is the first bike, and then if you want to, you can tie them together with various other straps you will have to provide, or you can put a bike lock on there to stop them being stolen. Coming down the driver's side of the vehicle, so your toilet's in here. This is your toilet cassette. So if you lift the small yellow handle, this means the cassette blade is open when you can't get the cassette out. So if I just go and shut the cassette, and now with the cassette blade closed, you can lift and slide out. To empty, take this cover off, this yellow cover, go to your waste disposal point, press this button, empty out. Once you've emptied out, put some water in, give it a rinse, empty out again, and then the cover, or the cap should I say, can be used as a measuring stick, so a cap full of liquid into here, and then it's ready to go. Or you can use the tablets, which are like sachets, and what you do is you put a pint of water in and push it back into the van and drop a tablet straight down the toilet. You've got your two refrigerant covers, your fresh water intake. So what I'd do is I'd go and buy yourself a hose pipe that hasn't been used in the garden, so brand new. They do say it has to be food rated. It doesn't. It can be any hose pipe as long as it hasn't been used in the garden. Hose pipe into there. You'll need some hose lock ends because it's just a brass tap, so you'll need the screw on bit to connect onto the tap. Into there until it overflows, or you're happy you've got enough water on board. You can see the level on board of how much water you do carry. If you're wild camping, you will have to take a full tank. If you are going to a site, take a maximum of 20 litres. In the driver's door, you have your bonnet release, which is just underneath the steering here. So there. And you also have your tyre pressures on here, so 5.5 bar front and back, which is 79.5 psi all round. And then underneath the bonnet, you've got your engine battery. So you've got your negative and positive back there for putting jump leads on, brake fluid, power steering fluid, engine oil, dipstick for checking your levels, coolant, and the main one you're going to need is your screen wash, which are there. And then you do have your weight plate. So this is 3.4 tonne. If you were to tow anything with this van and put a tow bar on, you can tow up to a train weight, which is the motorhome and trailer, caravan or car, mustn't exceed 5.4 tonne, and then you've got your front and back axle weight. So once inside, above the habitation door, you have your main control panel. So here you've got your battery selection, so you've got your leisure battery at the bottom and your vehicle battery at the top. You always want the motorhome to be running off the leisure battery, which is the battery L, as you don't want to run the motorhome off the vehicle battery, flatten the vehicle battery, and then you can't go anywhere. Moving along, you've got all your interior lights, so your cabin lights, and then they all are individually switched around the vehicle. You've got your pump. So your pump is on to use your toilet, shower, hand basin and your kitchen sink. And then you've got your switch here that's got a battery on. If you press this, you can then view your leisure battery reading, or you can switch it over to vehicle and view your vehicle battery reading. And then you do have your fresh water reading here as well, so if you press this rocker switch, it will show in there as well. So water's at the bottom, battery's at the top. This button will go red once the waste is full, and the one underneath will go to an orange light once the fresh water needs topping up. To lock your habitation door from inside, if you just lift the handle up like so, this then locks it. You do have also, when we're here, your step switch is just located here. Just to take the step in and bring the step out. And then you've got your, in your kitchen area, you've got a 12 volt, two 12 volts, a TV, coax input, a main 3-pin socket which will only work if the vehicle is hooked up. If not, it will just be 12 volt on board. Cupboard space, so various storage. In there you've got your access to your bulb of your awning light, and you can turn your awning light on and off from here. Plates, cups, and then in this one you have got storage as well. Moving down to the kitchen, the first thing you're going to be greeted with is the Truma fire. So how to work the fire is, you've got, this operates on gas this side, and this is your 12 volt assisted fan which blows around the vehicle. The electric side to the heating is in your wardrobe, and then there is a main control up here behind me which I'll go through in a moment, but I'll show you this first. So if you were wild camping or it was really cold and you wanted to use both sources and double your heating time, you'd have to take the cover off outside or this won't light. Push down, click the spark igniter, and then in there you will see that it is lit. So you see it there, that little blue flame, that's lit, and then you turn it up and you'll hear it roar. Then that is lit on gas. If the 12 volt fan wasn't on, it will convect out the front of the fire. This is great for if you're wild camping because it won't use any 12 volt source, and it will just simply convect on its own accord. This over here is the 12 volt fan, so in the middle is off, to the side is manual, and it will continuously push the heat around the van until you manually turn it off. Or you have A, which is automatic, and once the van hits the temperature it will cut out, and then the thermostat on board will pick out that the van has gone cooler, and this will kick back in. You've got 1 to 5, which is just your fan speed here. Behind the driver's seat on the bulkhead you've got 2 controls. So you've got Truma Ultra Store on gas. This is where the cover needs to be off. It doesn't have to be off for the fire, just the water heater. And below you do have the Truma Ultra Heat, which is 230 volts, so only when hooked up. So here you've got off, and then you see a little gas flame, so turn down the gas flame, and you've got 70, 60, 50, 40 or 30, and this is the temperature of your hot water. And below you do have off on the low 2 kilowatts, so 2000 watts, which is 2 kilowatts, which you can use on any site in the UK. And then you've got 1 to 9, which is your temperature, so 9's about 30 degrees, 5's about 15. You've got off just under 2 kilowatts, half a kilowatt, which is 500 watt, or 1000 watts, which is 1 kilowatt. Depending on where you are and what site provides the output of electric, you may be asked to turn it down from 2 kilowatts, mainly abroad. So now in the bathroom area, in your wardrobe, you've got 2 switches here. So you've got your space heater, which is a heating system on this van, on electric, so you must turn it on here to then use the dial at the front. And then you do have your water heater on electric here, so there is no other dial for the water heater. You just turn it on here and this will heat the water up on board. If you've got no water on, turn this off, but as soon as you hook up, turn it on and it'll heat your hot water on mains 240 electric. In here you do have all your MCBs and RCDs on mains 240 electric, so if you've tripped the vehicle out, try here before you try your site. You've got your 12-volt fuses, so it would be a good idea to carry some spare blade fuses. And then you've got your battery charger. Also in the wardrobe, you've got your Vision Plus booster. So you'd use this wheel here, turn the toggle from min to max. Should you be struggling for a TV signal, or should it be too strong, you may have to turn it down ever so slightly. You've got your status aerial, so loosen this nut off at the top and then you can push. Always pull it in and tighten it up to make sure it's in the lowest position when travelling, but should you be struggling to get a TV signal, you can push it up like so and raise it up higher above the van and use the small toggle to direct the aerial. So this will move the aerial to try and find the best signal. But a tip is to just look where your other motorhomes and caravans on your site are pointing, and you should pick up a TV signal. So in this cupboard here next to your fire is where you'll find your Truma boiler. So this is your Truma boiler. It holds 10 litres of water at any one time. In the winter it is very important that you drain the vehicle down. But what I'd do is I'd get into a routine of just draining the vehicle down when you're not using it. So if you're not using it for a couple of weeks, drain it down. And to drain it down, you'd open the waste outside, you'd open this boiler, and to do so you've got a toggle here, lift it up and put it in, stand it up. Once it's stood up, what it's doing is it's draining all the water directly underneath the chassis, and it is just going to let that 10 litres of water straight out. Stand it up and leave it stood up during the winter time when you're not using the van, and then when you do come to reuse the van, put it down in this position like it is now, fill the van with water outside, put the pump on, go to the cold side first. You'll automatically get cold water because you're pulling it straight from the main tank underneath the van, and then go to the hot. What it's doing is it's going to pull the water from the freshwater underslung chassis tank into here, and then once this gets 10 litres of water, it's going to start pushing it through the taps. So for the first few minutes it will cough, splutter, make all sorts of noises through the taps, and then once you get one steady flow on the kitchen tap, try the bathroom, hand basin and shower, and then the system is primed for the season. But it's very important that you do drain it down, because these can be very expensive should you leave water in them over the winter, and it should freeze. You've also got your water purifier in here, because you've got a purifier tap on the top. This is just purified water, and obviously you can change the filter on that. And then you've got your lovely hot water there. And then to operate your hob, you've got to make sure this glass lid is pushed back fully, otherwise if it's not, these won't light, as it's a safety feature. So you've got 3 gas and 1 electric hot plate there on mains 240 volt. So just do be careful you haven't knocked this, because there's no light to indicate it's on, and as soon as you hook up you don't know this is on, you may this will start heating up and it may shatter the glass. Below you do have your grill with your grill pan. Take this out when travelling, as it can be noisy when you're on the road. And below you do have your oven. Like so. If you're struggling to light anything on gas, always bring it through the hob first. This is the highest place, and prime the gas through the system. And then underneath you've got your gas taps in the corner, which tell you what to do here. So any problems with gas, you can isolate each appliance, but what I'd say is these are mainly for when the vehicle is serviced. Any problems with gas, turn it off at the top of the bottle just to be safe. To operate your Dometic fridge, you have, this is a 3-way fridge, so it's got 3 sources. It's got mains 240 volt electric, it's got 12 volt, which is only when the engine is running. So this is a setting to keep the temperature at the same as it was when departing. So the idea here is with the 12 volt, you cool the fridge on either gas or electric before you leave, put your shopping in. So if you are lucky enough to keep this at home, you'd put it on, hook up the day or 2 days before, put the fridge on, allow it to cool, put your shopping in, allow that to cool and get lovely and cold, and then when you are ready to travel, you would just turn it down to 12 volt. As soon as the engine started, it sends a feed from the alternator straight to the fridge. So the 12 volt isn't your leisure battery, it is solely just the engine battery when travelling. And then you can either go back to 240 volt if you are hooked up and on a main site, or if you are wild camping, you turn down the gas, which is all the way at the bottom, press this in and the spark ignite at the light, and then you can see when it's lit in this back pilot hole at the bottom. So there, see there, and it is lit in the bottom there. So pull this out, and you'll be able to see that it is lit there. You can see the gas flame. Your temperature here, so this dial just is your temperature, so adjusts it. And then you do have your igniter, so you push the temperature and the igniter in together to light on gas. At the front of the fridge you do have a travel catch for when you're travelling, stops the door from opening. But also when winterising, clean the fridge out, and then the last thing you want to do is for the fridge door to be shut and sealed, because it's going to seal the air in. So just leave it ajar like so to allow air ventilation in and out the fridge to stop any funny smells or mould growing in the fridge. Next to your fridge is also your fold out table. So turn the turnbuckle, you can pull the table out, and it's basically just like an ironing board. You'd fold the legs out and then you can put it at the front, or you can put it outside if it's a lovely day. And then underneath this hatch in the floor is your leisure battery. So should you have any problems with your leisure battery, you can take this out and change it, or take it out and give it a good charge in the garage during the winter months if the van is being put in a storage yard. You've got your 2 battery fuses as well. Your main ceiling lights, I've just got a switch on there, and these to operate there. Now in your washroom, so to operate your Thetford toilet, you press the blue button at the back, make sure the pump's on, and it'll flush itself. It's all flush, and then you'd slide the blade, which is the grey lever, to the right. It'll open the cassette, trapdoor, blade, whatever you want to call it, and it'll deposit your waste into the cassette. Always use the toilet with the cassette blade open, and then flush and then shut after, just to seal the cassette again. At the back, this will go red once the cassette is full. Indicates that it does need to come out and be emptied and topped back up with chemical once you have emptied it. Also, another tip for winterising, if you leave all your mixer taps open in the middle position, so your hand basin, your sink, your shower, and take your shower head off and allow this hose to lie flat in this shower tray, because as you can see, it's doing the loop here, and the water can get caught up in the bends and stop, and this will basically freeze if it's that cold. So allow it to lie down, and all the water will dribble out into the shower tray and down. To operate this roof light as well, so if you pinch the black lever there and pull it up, you can have it open one side only, or you can have it open both sides together, just depending on which way the wind's blowing for ventilation in the bathroom. You've got a blackout blind and you've got a fly screen to keep the unwanted guests out. At the front, this skylight, so you'd open both of the arms, both sides, and then you can push it out, pull this bar into here and rest it into there, and then there's two tabs to lock the bar into position to give it a nice ventilation should it be a nice day. Obviously all skylights and windows must be closed when travelling, as they are just plastic, and a good gust of wind when you're on the road travelling at 70 miles an hour on the A1 will just rip them off. So to make your front lounge into a bed, simply pull the lats out underneath, pull your base cushion forward, push your backrest in, and then you can get your infill cushions, which can be kept anywhere, normally above the card bed or in the wardrobe, and then slot these in the back like so, and there you have a double bed. Also located underneath your front lounge seat, so if you take this big cover off here, this is your freshwater tank. So you must drain this down in the winter as well, or if you've taken on contaminated water, or simply you're not using the vehicle for a couple of weeks, drain the water down as it will go stagnant. In there you can see there's a bung, which is a plug on a chain. Simply pull the plug out and this will just drain underneath the chassis as well. Your pump's underneath here as well, so if you do feel the vibrations underneath the seat, it is only just your water pump, which will kick in should you have the pump switched on the main control panel, and then each tap has a micro switch on, so it would just pressurise, and then as soon as you open the tap it will kick in and provide water to the taps. And then your additional 2-berth double bed is in the Luton, so you connect your ladder to get up there, or should you be travelling and you want extra headroom, or you've got things in there so you can put light things in here when you're travelling, stop them rolling round and coming out when you're driving, you can push it up like so. So now in the cab to the right of me you do have your handbrake, you've got your windows, so your electric windows, passenger and driver, and then you use your little joystick here to adjust your mirrors, so your big mirror and your blind spot at the bottom. And you've got your wipers, your indicators and your lights. 5-speed manual gearbox, but to put in reverse you've got to lift it up and come up here for reverse. Fan speed, temperature, distribution, so where you want the air to go to, and circulation, either recirculating air within the vehicle or bringing fresh air in. You'll hear it there move. 12 volt and another 12 volt with a bigger 180 watt output. Fog lights, hazard lights and heated mirrors. You've got your radio here as well, so you can turn it on. Like so, and then you'll be able to scan for your channels on FM. So once you've found the channel you want, you can press 126 to save, or you can press select here. This will do your bass and your fade, and should there be a CD in, it'll recognise this and you can press mode and it'll go from FM to CD. Volume here, you've got a clipboard to put your site reservations or your map on there, and then to black the carb out on an evening, there is a silver screen up in the Luton which will simply clip round the outside, but you do have the curtains that you can draw around the cab as well. And to start this vehicle, put the key in, you'll notice if you just go to start it up like a normal car, it won't start. What you've got to do is you've got to try and start it, turn it off, and there's a little remote which has got brown hills on. If you press the big button once, and then you go till it beeps like that, you can then start the vehicle. You'll hear the buzzing there, which is just your step going in, but you must always press the remote twice, 1, 2, and then turn her over. Got your headlight adjustment as well here, and then your glove box is lockable with the key should you have anything, and there's your case if you wanted to eject your head unit and put your fascia into the box when storing the vehicle. And your seat swivel by pulling the arms back, and then should the seat get stuck, just push it round, pull it forward and push it round into the rear, and there your captain's seat swivels.